Heartwarming surprise, Millionaire reveals a life-changing gift to son's babysitter on her 30th birthday. Emily had always been the backbone of her family. At 30, with a busy life as a nursing student, she juggled multiple jobs and the responsibilities of raising her younger siblings alongside their single mother. The sacrifices felt endless. She was the neighborhood babysitter, often found amusing giggling children, and pouring love into their tiny hearts. But her dreams of becoming a nurse felt like trails leading into a thick fog, ever elusive. As her birthday approached, she couldn't help but reflect on her pandemonium-laden life. She woke each day, tired but resolute, brushing her auburn hair back and squinting against the sunlight that streamed through her window. Even as a new decade beckoned, the weight of unpaid bills and obligations pressed on her chest like a heavy stone. But today was different. Today she felt a flicker of hope. Across town, David, a local businessman, observed life from behind his windows of success. Misunderstood, wealthy, and isolated, he felt a longing for connection. He had built his empire but lost touch with the essence of community. A visit to his son's babysitter during a drop-off transformed everything. Emily, with her radiant smile and effortless way with the children, intrigued him deeply. This wasn't just a babysitter, she was a kindred spirit, embodying dedication and love. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. As Emily's birthday dawned, she was filled with mixed emotions. She prepared breakfast for her siblings, reading their faces full of joy as they devoured pancakes. That moment stirred something inside her, a warmth, a desire to live up to the love surrounding her. Yet, she couldn't shake the looming thoughts of all that she still wanted to achieve. Later that day, friends and families she had cared for gathered to surprise her in the park. As she entered, a wave of laughter and color greeted her. Yellow balloons brushed against the summer breeze, hand-drawn signs erupted with her name. But just as her heart soared, it faltered at the sight of David, stepping forward, holding an envelope that changed everything. As he unveiled his plans to fully fund her nursing scholarship and included a car that would ease her exhausting daily commute, gasps echoed around them. The crowd stirred, emotions thick in the air. Emily's heart raced, elation clashed violently with disbelief. Did she deserve this? Would this bridge the gap between her dreams and a life governed by sacrifice? Caught in the crossfire of admiration and envy, she felt everyone's eyes on her. This wasn't just a gift, it was an upheaval of her beliefs about worthiness. Her reality transformed in a heartbeat. David's kind gesture illuminated the town's hidden truths about value, class, and aspiration. As whispers filled the air, Emily stood frozen, battling between dreams deferred and paths newly laid bare before her. Would accepting this scholarship ignite her journey toward nursing, or would it simply deepen the divides in her community? The last thought lingered as the laughter faded, and the truth of her choice loomed large, setting the stage for a transformation she never expected. Emily stood in the park, her heart racing. The park was buzzing, but to her, it felt as if time had stopped. Around her, the laughter of children and chatter of friends merged into a distant echo, replaced by the sound of her own thoughts colliding. This moment, this gift, was a pivotal fork in the road. She had come to expect hand-me-down dreams, but now David was offering her a chance to the life she had envisioned. Everyone was staring, their eyes wide with expectation. They didn't understand the weight of his generosity. She looked at David, who stood with a genuine smile, the kind that seemed to illuminate the space around him, fading the shadows of indecision in her mind. But with that warmth came an unshakable fear. Could she truly accept such a grand gesture? Guilt seeped in. The doubts of her unworthiness loomed large. Emily. A voice broke through her haze. It was Sarah, a mother she often babysat for. Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Emily forced a smile. Yeah, just processing. A lot to take in, huh? Sarah offered a knowing nod, stepping closer. David's not just rich, he's kind. You know how much you've helped everyone. You deserve this chance. Yet, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that charity was something meant for others, some deserving souls who had faced hardship without a family member often panicking about groceries or rent. Was she really among those chosen to receive help? She could feel David watching her, his expression a mix of hope and patience. A part of her wished she could take that leap and embrace the future being offered to her. But another part, that ever-familiar voice of doubt, warned her that this was too good to be true. Emily. Her younger brother's voice broke the tension like a sharp knife. Can we go play? We want to celebrate you. Her heart softened, and in the whirlwind of her worries, she felt the sweetness of joy tugging on her sleeve. The kids were happy, their innocence brought light to her doubt and confusion. Those moments of pure laughter and love only fueled her desire to be a nurse even more. She craved to give back to the world knowingly, every small gesture she had done for years had shaped her, forged her. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, away from the plush greenery and chatter, directly towards David. Can I think about it? She asked, feeling the weight of her words. For the first time, clarity seeped through her. Acceptance didn't mean denial of her struggles, it was a recognition of her fight, and a choice to strive for more with the support of her community. David's smile widened, genuine understanding glimmering in his eyes. Of course. Take your time. The air felt lighter as Emily returned to her family, the weight of hesitation dissipating. It was the first step in a long journey, and she was ready, or at least, ready to be ready. But in the coming days, she would discover there were people who didn't want to see her succeed, people who whispered their resentment, hiding in the shadows of envy. How far would she go to protect her new dream, and who could she trust along the way? Emily found herself replaying that moment at the park over and over. Each time, it felt like a knot tightened in her stomach. Can I think about it? The words echoed like a newly formed mantra. It was a chance, a possibility that sat heavier on her shoulders than she had imagined. The following days blurred together as Emily navigated her everyday life. The kids she babysat were filled with uncontainable energy, their laughter ringing in her ears like sweet music. Sometimes, amid their chaos, she could momentarily forget her worries and dream. But in quieter moments, doubts crept back in, swirling around her like thick fog. Thoughts of unworthy echoes loomed large, and she wished for a way to silence them. At school, the nursing program loomed closer on the calendar, promising hope but also immense pressure. She yearned to be a part of it, but the more she thought about David's offer, the more it seemed like a fragile illusion. Could she really accept that gift? One afternoon, she was grading papers in the staff room when Sarah slipped in, her presence bright against the dim lighting. Hey, Emily, can we talk? Emily nodded, feeling a hint of nervous excitement. As the door clicked shut, Sarah leaned in, her voice low and conspiratorial. I heard some whispers. People are saying things about David's offer to you. The words chilled Emily. What do you mean? I know you're a good person. Help me more times than I can count. But not everyone sees it that way. Emily's heart sank. You mean they think I'm taking advantage? Not exactly. More like, some people think you shouldn't be the one receiving help. That maybe others deserve it more. Her stomach twisted into knots. It was so easy to become the target of whispered judgment. But it wasn't like that. I'm not asking for charity, she managed to whisper, bitterness rising in her throat. Exactly. You've worked hard, Emily. You've earned every bit of kindness coming your way. Don't let them ruin it for you. Sarah's words struck a chord. Emily remembered those years showing up, doing what she could. They were small acts, but they mattered. Did that not count for something? The days rolled on, and with each passing moment, Emily faced more guilt over the looming decision. When she returned to the park one quiet evening, she sat on a bench lost in thought. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows, and the echo of children's laughter faded into the distance. What would it take? She whispered to herself. Suddenly, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Jumping slightly, she turned to see David standing there, his eyes soft. "I hope I'm not interrupting you." "No, just thinking." "Good. Thinking can be powerful stuff. Sometimes it leads us where we need to go." She wanted to ask him about the naysayers, the doubts swirling through her mind like a storm. But instead, she found herself talking about her dreams, her love for nursing, the way she always felt drawn to help people. By the end of their chat, her heart seemed lighter, her vision clearer. "Just remember, Emily, a gift is best when it's freely accepted," David said, and she could almost see his words spinning like stardust around her. But out of the shadows, she began to notice others watching, their faces twisted in dismay. It filled her with unease. What if they were right? What if accepting help would only lead to more heartache? Was she ready for the challenges ahead? And would she discover the strength to stand tall against those whispers of doubt? As uncertainty closed in like a fog, one question lingered: how could she protect the dream she was finally allowing herself to hope for? The next day dawned with an unusual clarity. Emily stepped out of her apartment, her heart a mix of hope and trepidation. The morning air was fresh, filled with promise, and as she walked to school, she couldn't shake the feeling that today was different. In the staff room, the chatter was louder than usual. Teachers exchanged stories, laughter punctuating the air, and for the first time in a while, Emily felt a flicker of hope. She poured herself a cup of coffee, listening to Sarah recount a funny incident from her class. But behind the laughter, the whispers from the previous week still echoed in Emily's mind, leaving doubts creeping in like unwelcome guests. As classes went on, she struggled to remain focused. While explaining the chapter on self-care to her students, her mind wandered to David's offer. A gift is best when it's freely accepted. Those words hung in her heart, but the weight of judgment from others threatened to suffocate her spirit. After school, Emily had planned to meet with Sarah for a quick chat, but a text from David changed everything. "Can we talk tonight? I have something for you." Her heart raced. What did he mean? She spent the next few hours trying to distract herself, baking cookies for the kids she babysat later. The familiar smell of chocolate filled her tiny kitchen, but her excitement was undercut by anxiety. What if David was about to change everything? And what if she wasn't ready? That evening, Emily arrived at the park, her favorite spot. It was emptier than usual, the fading light casting an ethereal glow over everything. She spotted David sitting on their usual bench, his expression calm yet expectant. As she approached, he stood, a smile breaking across his face. "Thanks for coming," he said, his voice warm. "Of course," Emily replied, putting on her best smile while her stomach churned with nerves. "Before I get into it, I want you to know that what I'm offering is entirely your choice. No pressure." He paused, taking a deep breath. "I've been thinking a lot about you, your aspirations, and how hard you work." Something shifted in the air. His sincerity washed over her like a refreshing rain on a parched landscape. "I wanted to support you in a way that might make a difference," he continued. He reached into his bag, pulling out a folder. "I've arranged for you to have a scholarship to the nursing program. It's all set, the funding, the resources, everything." Emily's heart raced. A million emotions cascaded through her, but the loudest was disbelief. "Are you serious?" "Absolutely," David replied, his gaze unwavering. "You deserve this. You've earned it. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." But even in this moment of dreams unfolding, the shadows of self-doubt loomed. "But what about everyone else? What if people think I—" Her voice trailed off, fear tightening her chest. "Emily, this isn't charity. You've put in the work. Accepting help doesn't diminish your value or your journey," he assured, eyes full of compassion. Tears of frustration threatened to spill. She wanted to believe him. But the fears and whispers, could she silence them? Minutes passed, and as silence settled between them, David stepped closer, offering her the folder. "Please take it. Let this be your chance to stop doubting and start believing in yourself." Emily hesitated. Could she truly embrace this gift without fear? With a shaky hand, she reached out and held the folder tightly against her chest. Just then, a distant bark interrupted the moment. A dog appeared with its owner, breaking the tension. The laughter of children echoed once again in the fading evening light, and for the first time that day, Emily smiled, yet uncertainty still lingered like a ghost. As she stared at David, excitement tangled with fear. What path would she take now? Would she find the courage to step into this new life? The night air felt electric, and in the quiet of the park, a single thought bubbled to the surface: how could she step forward without looking back? The following day arrived with a heavy cloud cover, mirroring the tumult of emotions stirring within Emily. She couldn't shake the images of last night's meeting from her mind, the weight of the folder pressing against her chest, David's earnest demeanor, and the world of possibilities it opened. Each thought sent a new wave of anxiety crashing over her. At school, she moved through her routine like a ghost. The laughter of her students barely registered as she grasped for words that felt tangible. With every lesson planned around self-care, she felt hypocritical, teaching lessons that had yet to take hold in her own life. She glanced at her phone, half hoping for another message from David, something to calm the storm brewing inside her. As the day wore on, she made her way through the hallways, trying to brush off the stares and whispers from some of the teachers. She caught snippets of conversations that pricked at her insecurities. "Did you hear about the babysitter and the millionaire?" One teacher chuckled. "It's like a fairy tale," another retorted, though there was a hint of skepticism in her voice. Emily felt her cheeks redden, and she hurried past the staff room, heart racing. She wanted to scream, to tell them that it wasn't a fairy tale for her, but rather a thick fog filled with confusion and fear. Could she truly take the leap into nursing? Did she even deserve David's gift? In the comfort of her small apartment that evening, she sat on her couch, the folder now opened on the coffee table, the letters typed neatly inside. The scholarship could change everything, but the doubt weighed heavier than her dreams. What if she failed? What if accepting this blessing only opened new doors for judgment? Her phone buzzed, drawing her from her thoughts. It was a text from David, and her heart fluttered. "Hey, just checking in. Hope you've had time to think. I'm here if you want to talk." The sincerity in his simple message ignited something within her. Perhaps it was vulnerability, perhaps it was resolve. She had poured her heart into her work, every late night and early morning fueled by a desire to care for others. Maybe she owed it to herself to step into this uncertainty. Emily glanced outside, where rain started to drizzle against the window, washing away the day. She took a deep breath, her fingers hovering over the keys. "Can we meet tomorrow?" She typed back, her heart pounding. Almost instantly, a reply came: "Absolutely. I can't wait to see you." That spark, the thrill of reaching out, shot through her. But as excitement brewed, it was swiftly met with a wave of anxiety. The question still loomed large: could she embrace this new chapter? The next morning, sunlight broke through the clouds, and with it came a fresh determination. Emily put on her favorite dress, the one that always made her feel confident. She felt that she was not just preparing for a meeting with David but for an inevitable shift within herself. When she arrived at the park, the beauty of the world around her calmed her racing heart. Birds chirped, and children played as families dotted the benches, laughter mingling with the gentle breeze. David was already there, leaning against the bench, a smile spreading across his face as she approached. "Hey, you look amazing," he said, holding his arms open for a warm embrace. As they settled onto the bench, with the bustle of the park creating a soothing background, Emily couldn't help but notice the warmth radiating from him. It was an anchor amidst her swirling thoughts. About the scholarship, she started, voice trembling but resolute. I've been thinking. David leaned in closer, encouraging her with his eyes, an invitation to explore the depths of her thoughts. And she knew, in this moment, that whatever came next, this conversation could define her path. Would she find the strength to embrace both the gift and her own worth? The weight of that question hung in the air, thick with anticipation. Just as they were about to dive deeper, a figure at the edge of the park caught Emily's eye, a familiar face, filled with expectation. Could a chance encounter lead to another unexpected twist in her journey? Emily's pulse quickened as the figure drew closer. It was her old friend, Sarah, someone she hadn't spoken to in years. Sarah had been a constant in her life during college, a partner in study sessions and late-night talks about dreams and fears. But the abrupt end of their friendship, tied to Emily's fading aspirations, made this moment feel surreal. Emily! Sarah called out, her voice dancing with surprise. Oh my goodness, is that really you? Emily stood up, hesitant yet friendly. Sarah! Wow, I didn't expect to see you here. As they hugged, the warmth ignited memories of late-night laughter and relentless ambition. But there was a shadow behind Sarah's eyes as she pulled back. You look different. Happy, maybe? What is going on? A flurry of emotions surged within Emily. She glanced at David, who was watching them with a soft smile, yet there was an anxious edge to his expression. The moment felt fragile, like glass ready to shatter. Well, I've been thinking about going back to school, Emily confessed, her voice quiet, overwhelmed by the weight of her decisions. I'm working towards a nursing scholarship. Sarah's eyes widened with a mix of pride and disbelief. Nursing? You always wanted to help people. That's amazing, Em. I'm so proud of you. In that moment, Emily felt the weight of doubt lift a little. Sarah's support was unexpected but deeply welcome. Thank you. It's just. I don't know if I'm cut out for it, she admitted, the fear creeping back in. That's the thing about dreams. They're meant to feel overwhelming, Sarah said softly, her tone encouraging. You've always had the biggest heart. You'll find your way. David cleared his throat softly, drawing Emily's attention back to him. Do you want to join us for a coffee, Sarah? We were just talking about Emily's future. His voice was gentle, hinting that he sensed the delicate nature of the moment. Sure. I'd love to catch up, Sarah replied, her face lighting up. As they walked toward the nearest cafe, Emily felt a sense of camaraderie return, stitching the gap that years had torn apart. They settled into a small table, laughter and warmth weaving their history together. Do you still have that dream of working in the art world? Emily asked, genuinely curious, wanting to shift the focus away from her own insecurities. Kind of, Sarah replied with a smile that faded just slightly. I'm actually working at a community center, teaching kids art. They help me as much as I help them. Emily felt a pang of admiration mixed with envy. It was what she'd envisioned for herself at one point, making a difference through creativity. That sounds incredible. Just then, David watched as Emily and Sarah fell into conversation like no time had passed. There was a spark in Emily's eyes he hadn't seen since they met. Yet the lingering tension sat heavily on his heart. He wanted to tell her how much he believed in her, how invested he was in her future and their connection. As the coffee cups clinked on the table, a sudden realization washed over Emily. She wanted to share this moment with David, to let him into a part of her life that she had kept hidden for so long. But just as she opened her mouth to speak, the buzzing of her phone interrupted. It was a notification from a number she didn't recognize, but the words made her heart sink. Emily, we need to talk. It's important. The sudden urgency in the message hung heavily in the air. Who could it be? What could they want? The playful atmosphere of the cafe shifted, and Emily felt a familiar cloud of uncertainty settle back into her chest. Would this conversation pull her away from the hopeful path she was beginning to see? What unexpected turn was waiting just around the corner? Emily's heart raced as she stared at the screen. The notification had pulled her from a moment of comfort back into uncertainty. She hesitated, glancing at David and Sarah, both of whom were still wrapped up in their conversation, laughter echoing around her but feeling distant. "Are you okay?" David asked, his brow furrowing. His voice cut through her anxious thoughts. She quickly flashed him a forced smile, not wanting to dampen the mood. "Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Just an old acquaintance." But something was off. The words "we need to talk" echoed in her mind, setting her nerves ablaze. She took a deep breath, excusing herself to the bathroom. In the small, tiled space, she felt the world should be standing still, yet her heart had other plans. It thundered in her chest, drowning out other sounds. Looking into the mirror, she barely recognized herself. The reflection showed uncertainty mixed with flickers of hope. Her fingers traced over the phone's screen as she considered her options. This could be the perfect chance to step back into her future, or it could drag her back down to where she had been. Just as she decided to text back, the door creaked open. Surprised, she turned to see Sarah peeking in. "Hey, I hope I'm not interrupting," Sarah said with a gentle grin. "I just wanted to check on you. You seemed a bit off." Emily forced a smile. "I'm okay, just feeling a little overwhelmed." Sarah stepped fully inside, the door clicking softly behind her. "It's okay to feel overwhelmed, Em. You're stepping into something big. Just know, you have people who care about you." Those words resonated. Emily exhaled, allowing her shoulders to drop. "I know. I didn't expect to feel so conflicted. I think I was actually excited a moment ago." And then she held up her phone, showing the message. This suddenly popped up. Worry washed across Sarah's face. "Do you know who it's from?" Emily shook her head. "Some unknown number. I feel like it could be about something I don't want to deal with right now." "Take your time," Sarah encouraged, her voice soothing. "But maybe it's worth answering. If it's important, you deserve to know." "Yeah," Emily murmured, and as she took a deep breath, she felt the warmth of Sarah's friendship wrap around her like a comforting embrace. After a moment, she tapped on the screen, typing back a cautious reply, "Who is this? What's it about?" As she pressed send, she felt a knot in her stomach. What had she just opened herself up to? Returning to the cafe, she found David deep in conversation with Sarah. Their laughter was infectious, yet the power of the unknown weighed heavily on Emily. She took her seat between them, though her mind wasn't fully present. Instead, she felt detached, waiting for the next ping from her phone that could change everything. Suddenly, her phone buzzed again. She glanced at it, noticing the response. The words flashed across the screen, sending a chill through her, "I'll explain everything. Meet me tomorrow at the park." "What is it?" David's voice broke through her thoughts again. She looked up, trying to mask the fear that scratched at her chest. "Just, something I need to figure out," she responded, her voice barely a whisper. In that moment, Emily knew she was standing on the brink of change. Decisions waited patiently like shadows behind corners. Would she walk toward the light or retreat into darkness? What was waiting for her at the park? And would it turn out to be what she truly needed, or something that would pull her deeper into a past she was struggling to escape? Emily lay awake that night, thoughts racing faster than she could track. The weight of the message lingered like a cloud obstructing the moonlight. The park. Just saying that brought back so many memories, faded laughter, sunlit days where nothing felt out of reach. But as she rolled onto her side, the thrill was drowned by anxiety. What was she walking into tomorrow? She couldn't shake the feeling of dread. Whoever was on the other side of that message knew more than they were letting on. The clock ticked loudly as the shadows played on her walls. Would it be her old life calling her back, or a new chance? Closing her eyes, Emily hoped for clarity, but sleep evaded her. Instead, she drifted between thoughts of David and Sarah's laughter, and darker edges of her past that crept closer like a fog. Morning came, a mix of bright sunlight and a stirring unease. She went through her routine, brushing her hair, putting on a light sweater, sipping coffee as the nerves danced inside her. When Sarah arrived, ready for their morning ritual, Emily couldn't muster the usual enthusiasm. "Earth to Emily," Sarah teased, nudging her directly as they settled down with their mugs. "What is going on? You look like you've seen a ghost." It's this message Emily let out a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "I'm meeting whoever this is at the park today. What if it's bad? Maybe it's not. Maybe it'll be exactly what you need," Sarah said with a hopeful spark in her eyes. Emily appreciated her optimism but wasn't convinced. "What if it's someone trying to drag me back to a place I don't want to go?" Sarah leaned forward, her expression softening. You're stronger than you think. Whatever happens, you'll deal with it. You always do." That comfort wrapped around Emily like a warm hug. They switched to lighter topics, laughter spilling over their mugs, spreading warmth that was almost contagious. David joined them an hour later, bright and cheerful, momentarily lifting the weight off Emily's shoulders. "All right, what are we doing?" He grinned. "Nothing, just girl talk," Sarah said playfully, hiding the truth. But as they laughed and joked, the clock inched closer to noon, the time when she'd have to face it. That dreaded appointment loomed like dark clouds hanging over a picnic. Emily glanced at the clock again, her heart racing. "I need to get going." "Wait." David grabbed her hand. "You're going to be fine. Seriously, just remember, you've got your friends waiting behind you, okay?" "Yeah, okay," she whispered, though doubt clung to her like a shadow. They walked outside, and as she approached the park, butterflies swirled inside her. Each step felt heavy and light, each tree and swing a memory haunting her mind. And then she saw him. A figure sitting on the bench, turning as she got closer. Emily's heart dropped. She recognized that face all too well. "Hi, Emily." Chills cascaded down her spine as the world shrank around the familiar presence. "You." She stammered. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I've been waiting for this moment, there's so much we need to talk about." In that instant, her breath caught, and she realized the park wasn't just a meeting place, it was the threshold to a confrontation that promised to tear open old wounds. Could this meeting be a chance for closure or a door wide open to her past? Emily took a deep breath, bracing herself for whatever was about to unfold. Would she find the answers she's been searching for, or would she be left with more questions? Emily forced herself to take a step closer, her heart hammering like a drum. She could see the sun glistening on the leaves, but all she felt was the chill of recognition. "Why now?" she managed to ask, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because I needed you to understand," he said, his tone calm yet edged with urgency. "I've spent so long trying to do the right thing, trying to protect you." "Protect me?" she retorted, anger bubbling to the surface, mixing with the fear that had tightened its grip around her. "You don't get to decide what's best for me anymore. Not after everything." He winced, and for a fleeting moment, his expression softened, revealing a hint of vulnerability. "I know I hurt you, I know I messed up. But there are things you don't know. Things I can't just let slip away." The tension surged between them. Emily felt her legs tremble, and she fought the urge to turn and flee. Memories of laughter they once shared hit her like waves. Could this man, the boy she once loved, really have the answers she sought? What could you possibly say that would change anything? She asked, clenching her fists, searching for a resolve that seemed elusive. He leaned forward, the familiar intensity in his gaze shining through the shadows of their shared past. I made decisions based on fear, not love. I thought I was protecting you, but it kept us both trapped in a cycle of pain. I'm not asking for forgiveness today. Just listen, please. There was a frayed thread of hope in his voice, but every fiber of Emily's being screamed to turn away. In that moment, caught between past and present, she had a choice. Listen to the man who once meant everything to her, or walk away and keep the echoes of her troubles buried deep. Why should I? She questioned, her heart pounding against her rib cage like a caged bird desperate for the sky. Because I would do anything to make it right, he said steadily, each word piercing through the heavy air. You deserve to know the truth, whatever it is. And maybe, just maybe, it could finally set us both free. A breeze swept through the park, rustling the leaves, cool against her flushed skin. Emily felt the weight of his words sink in, colliding with the memories that clouded her vision. Could she find clarity in the chaos? What if the truth is worse than the pain of not knowing? She whispered, the question escaping before she had a chance to hold it back. He seemed to ponder her words, his brow furrowing as he regarded her with a penetrating gaze. I guess we'll never know until you choose to find out. The air grew thick with unsaid things, her heart thudded painfully at the thought of confrontation. Just say it, she urged, trying to keep her voice steady. Emily, he hesitated, as if weighing the consequences that hung heavy between them. His eyes softened again, cracking the armor he wore. You're not the only one who suffered. I was lost, too. And if you let me, I can lay it all out. It may not heal the wounds, but you deserve to know. And in that moment, something flickered within her, a feeble glow of potential, of what could be if she accepted the truth. As the tension thickened, Emily inhaled deeply, feeling the turning point approaching. Was she truly ready to hear whatever he had to say? With the stakes laid bare before her, the figure of her past seemed less like a ghost and more like a lifeline. What if this choice altered everything? Okay, talk, she finally said, her voice a fragile whisper, but stronger than she felt. And as he began to speak, a new chapter of revelations and reckonings opened between them, leaving Emily to wonder just how far she was willing to go to face the truth and what it might cost her when it was all said and done. As Emily stood before him, she felt as if the entire world had shrunk to just the two of them. The park was alive with laughter, yet she was suspended in a moment of heavy reality. She took a deep breath and steadied herself, ready to confront the storm that had whirled around her for far too long. Just say it, she urged again, her voice now steadier. Okay, he began, his gaze piercing through her facade. I've kept so much from you, but if I want to be honest, you need to know that I was afraid of my own feelings, afraid I would hurt you. His voice trembled slightly, and Emily felt her heart kick. You're right. You hurt me when you left, when you chose to run instead of face it all. I know. His voice rose, a break of desperation. But it wasn't just about us. There were family issues, things looming over my head. I thought I was saving you from my chaos. By pushing me away. She had been getting angry, but now it was laced with a poignant sadness. I needed you then, and I still do now. He fell silent for a moment, weighing her words. She could see he was grappling with regret as he moved forward. I can't change the past, Emily. But I can tell you the truth now. It's been eating at me. I was scared of what we could become. But more than that, I was terrified of losing you. Silence coiled around them, thick and tangible. Emily pulled back, disbelief creeping in. So you let fear dictate our fate? He nodded. Yes, but it wasn't just fear of losing you, it was fear of failing you. I thought I could spare you the heartache. By abandoning me? Emily shook her head, anger flaring, but it felt different this time. It wasn't just anger toward him, it was a reckoning with her path, her choices. I'm not a fragile thing to be protected, and you shouldn't have seen me that way. A tear slipped down her cheek, and as painful memories flooded back, she realized she had longed for this confrontation. Not just for answers, but for closure. He reached out, his hand hovering an inch from her. I know it's too late for apologies, but I want you to reclaim your dreams. I want to see you thrive in nursing, just like we always talked about. Emily stared at him, caught between the desire to forgive and the heavy weight of her lingering resentment. Do you think this will change what happened? Will it heal the scars of hurt? It won't undo the pain, he replied softly. But maybe it can help you carve a path forward, a chance to let go. You can reclaim what was lost and rise above the shadows. Emily hesitated, looking at him, this figure from her past that had once filled her with joy but was now a source of pain. She didn't need him to fix her. She needed to find her own strength. Maybe the past can't be rewritten, she whispered fiercely, but I won't let it dictate my future anymore. He nodded, as if realization reflected in his eyes. She took a step back, suddenly feeling lighter. The truth was liberating, and as much as it hurt, she recognized that it was the first stage of healing. I need to think about what you've said, Emily continued. But what I really need is time to build a life defined by my own choices, not dictated by fear or the echoes of the past. Of course, he whispered, a wave of understanding glimmering through his expression. And I'll always be cheering you on from the sidelines. With those words hanging between them, she turned and walked deeper into the park. The sunlight streaming through the trees felt so different now, a reminder that tomorrow was a new day, full of possibilities. A familiar voice brought her back into the moment. Emily. It was Sarah, running toward her with a bright smile. But before she could embrace her friend, the light caught the glint of David's eyes, watching her from afar. In that moment, two worlds collided. As she stood at the intersection of old paths and new beginnings, clarity settled in. The next chapter was hers to define. A vision of nursing danced in her mind, every patient she could help, every life she touched. Sarah, she said, excitement bubbling within her, I've made a decision. Together. They walked toward the sun-kissed horizon, her heart lighter than ever before. I'm going back to school, Emily declared. I'll take that scholarship, no second guessing. I deserve every bit of it. Yes. Sarah shouted, twirling with joy. That's the Emily I know. As the sound of the city faded into laughter, Emily felt like she had broken free from chains that once bound her. And in that moment of triumph, with every step forward echoing with purpose, she resolved to chase her dreams with fierceness and grace. The past was just that, her past. Her future was hers to sculpt into something beautiful. With that resolve radiating inside her, she finally knew the truth. She wasn't just a babysitter or a daughter, she was a force all her own. This was the beginning of her bright tomorrow. Now, here's what you need to do: subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this powerful ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to support the channel through these actions. Do it. Don't wait not even one more second.